Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Square Eye Syndrome podcast episode 14. My name's Ben Gilman. As always, I'm joined by Tom Hall.
Hey.
Troy Salmon.
What up?
And we're very, very fortunate, very thankful for a special guest today, Dan Rudge.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, Tom. Dan, it's nice to meet you.
It's not a bother.
Would you like to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself before we start?
Yeah, Tom's one of my oldest friends, and we've spent an awful lot of time arguing and discussing TV shows, movies, culture of all types. So, yeah. I was invited on to do this just for a little bit. I'll be on every so often, maybe. So,
yeah.
See how it goes.
Okay. That exactly sounds like how me and Tom are now in the office when we've been together. Could get quite heated about Dracula at the start of the new year.
I just remember endless games of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And who would you invite to a dinner party? I think was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a really good one. Plus, all of his favorite films are in my top 10, and my favorite films are in his top 10, kind of thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
A hot take. What do you think of BBC's Dracula? Did you see it? Because Tom is perfect. I think the last episode is a wet fart of an episode. Like, absolutely sticking 2 fingers up.
And I'll let you know when I see it.
Okay, we're gonna have to ask you to watch that one day. That would be quite interesting. Okay, so everyone's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it then. Okay, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna hit it. Pick one. Game of Thrones. Hold up. I know normally we put these big ones into Legacy, complete, special, just to let Dan know. Every once a month we take one of our podcasts and make it a special.
All right.
And we take an entire show and do the whole run. If we've all seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have been and ahhing about this for a while to bring this show up on this podcast. And I'm going to be very honest with you, and I feel like I'm going to get killed for this. Game of Thrones is not very good. Okay, I've watched the first 2 seasons, but it's like Lord of the Rings for me. I cannot get past the second season. It's basically... Everyone says this show's amazing. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. And all I see is people just sitting around a table talking politics. I have watched season 1 about 2 or 3 times to try and see what people see for this show.
Can't believe you said that. Can't believe it, man.
So you guys need to tell me why I should continue with Game of Thrones.
Okay.
What it is. I don't have to explain what this show is, do I? Really?
Nope.
No, it's fantasy.
Yeah. So this time I don't have to tell you who's in it, what's in it.
Nope.
I just think this show is a load of bollocks. In terms of, like, people say the last season is bad, but what I see right now is just, look, here's our landscapes. Here's some people just sitting down talking. Here's some brilliant... I just don't see it's exciting. I'd rather watch BBC News about Brexit than watch Game of Thrones.
That's ridiculous, man. Come on now. That's ridiculous.
I'd rather watch Charmed.
Don't do that, Charm. Don't do that.
What do all 3 of you think about Game of Thrones and defend it?
Tom, do you want to go first, or should I?
I'll let you go first, Troy, just so I can kind of get my breath back after the charmed comment.
No, it hit me so hard. I was like, oh, what is going on? Man said BBC News. Oh. No, you know, Game of Thrones is very character driven. I love it, man. It's one of the great shows of all times. The politics, the characters, the set. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Why do you like it though? I want to know what's the thing that you don't like about it. You say it's just talking most of the time, yeah, but at the same time, people are dying. People are getting double crossed.
People just aren't doing anything. They're just walking around, going to another town.
It's well building. Come on, it's well building.
Honestly, if that's what you're getting from the series, you're not watching the series. I have my issues with that series, but they have nothing to do with nothing happening.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some really stupid shit happens. Some absolutely just, let's just throw this in for fucking audience pandering and fan service shit happens. And the last season was literally like, shit, we haven't got a book to work from anymore. What the fuck are we going to do? Let's appease the advertisers. And all the plot went out the fucking window.
Okay.
But
yeah, exactly.
The acting's amazing.
Mm.
The writing that was done that was directly off of the books of George R.R. Martin is amazing.
Yeah.
The way that they paced at least the first, 4, 5 seasons?
I think the first 5, I say.
Would
the 6th season isn't badly paced.
Absolutely right. Everything about those first 4 or 5 seasons is just something that, if you do allow yourself to get immersed in it, it's brilliant. There are things which will take you out of that because they are pandering to multiple demographic audiences, and those clash a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But that's also why it's such a great big HBO special thing, is because they do that. They do that kind of well, and they've been doing it better and better since they started doing big specials with like Band of Brothers.
Okay. So what I've seen in the first, I don't get me wrong. Dan, I don't want this to sour our relationship. You've not known me that long. This is not maybe a good first impression. I don't know. But I like slow storytelling. It's not just Next Man. But I tell you what I do like about it then. What's it? Peter Dinklage's character.
Tyrion.
Drakes and knows things.
He's brilliant.
He gets better.
I love the forest. I don't know any of their names. Cersei
Cersei's the one who fucks her brother.
Yeah, the queen.
Jamie and Cersei are very interesting characters because of the incest. It's very weird, different relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I like Anya.
Yeah.
Arya, thank you. Arya, she's fantastic. She's a good actress. I like Cersei. No, not Cersei. The dragon girl.
Daenerys.
Oh, Daenerys, yeah.
No, I do like the characters. I just find the plot seems to move very gracefully.
You see, to me, you've missed out all the best characters.
I know what you're gonna say.
You've missed out all of the best characters. All of the best characters are ones that aren't so easily defined. Arya's mother is a prime example for the time that she's in there. Also, there's a whole load of characters in there that are really, really interesting that unless you actually get into it, you won't find them.
Yeah.
Beric Dondarrion, for example.
Okay.
And
he doesn't really come into it until number 3.
Who's read the books as well, even that some of the characters in the TV show are kind of amalgamations of a few different characters.
Yeah.
I like Littlefinger as well. He's quite sneaky.
Yeah, Littlefinger's amazing.
He's amazing.
Varys as well. But I'm going to say my absolute favorite character in the whole thing is Sir Barristan.
Oh, that's
okay.
Yeah, good choice.
I like it.
Okay. I quite like Jorah though.
Oh, Jorah! Jorah fans, stand up, yo! Jorah fans.
Okay. What I'm going to do, I was going to rewatch it again. I think I should just pick up from season 3 because I've already seen it.
Season 3 is very good and quite exciting in points. You get introduced to quite a few good new characters over the next couple of seasons as well.
I like the characters. This is the thing. I love the characters. I just wish it would move a bit quicker. See, but I think I should finish it at least, even if the last season sucks, which people have told me it does.
It doesn't suck as badly as some people say it does. It's just not up to the same standard of some of the previous seasons.
No, it's kind of a little bit like, whenever you get that like really lovely long series, and then just suddenly all the funding is dropped for it, and they have to just wrap everything up really quickly, and it's kind of like you knew it was gonna be better, but then they lost out.
Yeah, it feels rushed.
It feels like that, but you know that it was literally just them trying to get to an ending instead of anything else.
Yeah.
Complete rush job.
It just the writing doesn't match up at the end of it.
Yeah.
and you can tell.
Okay.
And also they make one really, really bad error in judgment by switching one character. There's one main character who gets amalgamated with another character from the book to cut down on the cast members.
Yeah.
And in the last series, that one thing creates this complication where you're like, huh? What? That's a really huge, amazingly huge thing. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. And it's just like...
Which character are you thinking of, Dan?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, the character that gets taken out of the books is a boy, a teenager when you meet him, and he's on boats, and he
young Griff.
But he has a entirely different backstory that you find out a little bit more about.
Oh, Griff, yeah.
So yeah, him, and then he gets amalgamated into one of the Starks.
Yes.
Okay. I've got the books, so I'm going to start reading them at some point. I've got all the books.
I'll give it another try.
It's definitely worth. The books are definitely worth a read. Seriously.
Yeah.
And then go back and have a look at the show again. You'll see that although they do differ, it is well done.
I will. I'll check them out.
Okay. So that's my first pick. Second pick is a nostalgic one and a happy one. I got a big rant on the third one, so I'm going to try and put something happy in the middle to buffer it. My wife, Dan may not know, but my wife is Japanese, so for me, watching her watch English television is hilarious. One of the big things in Japan, one of the few things like that, a lot of our television is famous in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're more influenced by American because World War II. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, but things like Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. So obviously your Sherlock's, they know what Doctor Who is. Your Harry Potter's, the films, James Bond, they all know that.
How many minutes is that, Troy?
Ooh, I think it's about half an hour, maybe.
I don't know. We're going to
really half an hour. Wow.
Around it.
Okay. Basically, I found out through other Japanese friends as well. Wallace and Gromit is very, how do I say it? Is very well loved. So me and my wife have gone back through all of Wallace and Gromit this week as well, and all the shorts on YouTube. If you go onto YouTube, they've got like 2-minute shorts of just wacky inventions, which I love about Wallace and Gromit. But I just feel like notice one thing I've noticed now. It's something that me and my wife have noticed. Wallace is a bit of a prick to Gromit. I've only noticed this recently. I think Gromit's a suffering dog. Have you noticed?
Wallace is just head in the clouds, absent-minded. He's not an asshole. He's just completely not there.
He's clueless.
It's amazing to watch. You would just wonder how Gromit hasn't decided to move out at this point. It always seems to be the guinea pig for any new inventions and stuff, and it just makes. I I've realised rewatching them actually how much I loved them as a kid, and then you get all the visual gags as well. It's visual humour because there's not a lot of dialogue. Because Wallace is normally the only one that speaks besides another human character, so they have to do a lot with visuals.
Yeah,
and I'm just amazed at like how good the visual gags are. I can't think of many other studios that are outside of Armand that are so good at just making me laugh with the animation of something in the background or something that the characters do.
well, you got to remember, like even before they did like Wallace and Gromit, they were doing Creature Comforts. Do you remember that one?
Oh, Creature Comforts. Yeah,
It's such a great idea. People you just have members of the public in a microphone and then you just animate them as animals. I love it.
That was hardly any animation, so that was very, very nuanced, tiny little bits of animation just to accentuate what was being said.
Yeah.
Nice
Chicken Run. I mean, God, we could be here all day. I mean, my nieces love Shaun the Sheep. That's not half bad. It's not half bad.
And probably their like most sort of unsung hero of an anything, which is Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists.
See, I need to watch that.
Brilliant, brilliant film. So underrated.
I've heard of that. I can't remember if I have.
No, there's also a Caveman one, which is meant to be quite good about football.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that one.
But I would love them to do a new full-length Wallace and Gromit, like a proper half an hour one. Because you see them do the adverts now for various things, and it just makes me sad. I just want to see a proper half an hour Wallace and Gromit again. And it's one of our most beloved things that makes us British, I suppose. But I'm just very happy to see how far they've come since.
Nick Park is literally a national treasure.
He is. I'm very proud to say that he is. But I watched the original one. You see how far they've come in terms of animation style. The one where they go to the moon. I can't remember the name of that one. It's not The Wrong Trousers. It's not.
No, The Wrong Trousers is the best one.
It's a Grand Day Out.
Grand Day Out. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yes.
I just adore it. So yeah, I'm putting Wallace and Gromit inside because I know it's cheating, but technically it's a TV show. It started as a TV show. So I'm going to stick Were Rabbit in there as well, just the whole thing, all the shorts, the adverts, everything about Wallace and Gromit. That deserves its spot. And I was going to talk about something else, but I've decided to swap it out. Because, the joke is already done. You may notice that they already mouthed off when I said Doctor Who earlier. Now,
you're on dangerous ground here, mate.
Where do you stand? I will be. They can fire arrows at me. It's fine.
And we will.
We will. Oh yeah.
Now, where do you stand, Doctor Who?
I have a TARDIS on my skin.
Okay, so what are your opinions on season 12? How do you feel about Timeless Child?
I have mixed feelings. I really wish that everyone involved on screen could have had a lot better people behind the scenes.
Better writer, basically.
Better everyone. Better people pushing for them to actually have more creative control. Better people trying to keep more in line with what Doctor Who has always really been about. Which has been that quirky, amazing, crazy, unpredictable.
Yeah.
There was something missing. There just was. And it had nothing to do with any of the people in front of the camera. And it had nothing to do with the people who were actually shooting the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the politics. It's this little... So... I read Russell T Davies's short story because obviously Timeless Child has caused a lot of controversy. I've had to sit back for 3 months to think about what I've always wanted to put it on the podcast. My thoughts of it with a clear mind, so not to get how to say it delicately, not to upset people, basically. But I draw the line, and this is a rant. So it's going to be a very Paul Heyman ECW style rant field. If it turns out like that, I do apologise. But this Russell T Davies story basically says that the Doctor can change into an animal as well. Not just a woman and a man, which is okay, but now it can turn into a fairy. And now that's canon. So my wife saw me put my head into my laptop's keyboard and just go like that. It's canon. I respect Russell T Davies a hell of a lot, but you're putting it on the BBC website, bruv. That is now canon because everyone has seen it. I
literally don't have a problem with it.
That's cool. I just feel, how do I say this? I'm half expecting him to wipe out the word police because the current world things are happening at the moment. I reckon I'm half waiting for them to change the TARDIS to get away from police box because police is now a bad word. I'm half expecting next season for her to turn up in a handbag. The TARDIS is a handbag or pink mini or something now. Like they're going to completely change it.
Well, you've got to remember there's now a second TARDIS running around as an American diner as well.
Yeah. Oh boy, that day I saw that, I was.
Oh my god.
That was a fumer for me.
I think that was supposed to be an American spin-off.
Oh, it will be a Big Finish spin-off one day. You know, Big Finish will. They're scouring for a new series to do. They're going to see that and rub their hands together. But the thing for me is the thing that the last season was. It was mostly better than season 11. That's not the problem. They made more of an effort to surprise people because season 11 was a snore fest of, like you said, the writer Chris Chibnall. He doesn't know what he's doing. Anyone that watched Torchwood will know.
You were on dangerous ground criticizing Torchwood.
I'm not. I don't. Again,
we are with Dan.
No. You see, Torchwood, right?
Season 1.
Torchwood is a different audience than Doctor Who.
Yeah, but the thing is, Chris Chibnall, you don't know what Chris Chibnall you're going to get. I mean, season 1 of Torchwood is all over the place. Season 2 is much better. His Doctor Who stories in the past have been very, very vanilla. Broadchurch was very, very good. So when he
also wrote some of Life on Mars.
Yeah, so he's a very 50-50 guy with me. Like, I respect half of his Torchwood. You know what I mean?
Fair.
But I just feel like this PC brigade thing with Doctor Who, we're getting smacked in the face of it now. Orphan 55 literally had the Doctor turn around at the end and just look down the camera at the audience and gone, don't pollute the planet, look after the planet. It's just like, it's preachy now. And not in a clever way. It feels like, I don't already like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor because she looks like a bloody children's presenter. I mean, she is a good actress, but don't think
this is the point that I'm getting to. Like,
she's a great actress.
She would be a brilliant Doctor. She would absolutely be a brilliant Doctor, but it has been watered down to just be patronizing.
I also think she suffers from the fact that Capaldi was an amazing Doctor.
But she's a good actress. Fantastic. I don't have a problem with a female Doctor. Let's just get that straight. I love the fact it's a female Doctor. It's fine. I ain't got no problem with it. It's just, it's so, I don't know if this is a BBC thing. See, a lot of people pointing the finger at the BBC as well. Yeah, I also don't mind that Jo Martin is a black Doctor. I think, again, that's fantastic. That's not the problem. It's when you strip the Doctor of an origin story. Apparently, it's a BBC mandate that they want an origin story for the Doctor. So you have now stripped all the mystery out of the Doctor. You have literally, and I know that there's more to come in season 13 because we need to fill in the missing blanks. Community-wise, it makes no sense because Hartnell's Doctor is the first one to have the TARDIS, but Jo Martin's one is before him. She's got TARDIS. There's just, And it feels like they were checklisting off every ethnic person that is now a child. They weren't called the Doctor, but they are the same character. Black, white, Chinese, Middle Eastern, Hispanic. There's nothing wrong with that. It was such obvious. We are now trying to walk away from where you see all these white men that were the Doctor and ignore them. We want you to like everyone else. It feels like they're trying to get rid of the history. They're ashamed of all the white Doctors in the past. I mean, you can't change the past. I mean, in the present, you can changing up the ethnic background of the actor who plays the Doctor is fine, but you shouldn't be ashamed of the past. You can't change the past.
There's an element whereby there have been so many retcons.
Yeah,
it's like I don't give a crap what you're having the Doctor be or whatever. I don't care. Just give me my Doctor. You know, keep my Doctor being my Doctor. Don't have everything that's come beforehand be different now because we have to change their history so that their history reflects our time now rather than this is a story which has evolved through the years and through a public consciousness which has been evolving through the years as well.
Yeah.
You know, I completely understand it, but at the same time, this isn't even something which is confined to Doctor Who. This isn't even something which is confined to fiction. Our news is mostly opinion pieces now, and depending which side of the news you're looking at is which opinion pieces you're listening to more often. It's really difficult to get through to the truth in anything, and a lot of things are pandering and are not giving us full stories, are not giving us full respect. They're not. It's all about the effect we're supposed to have for someone else rather than how educated we are or how able we are to accept one thing or another. It's too difficult to get into in a 15 minutes of a podcast. It's something that requires maybe about 12 hours of one.
Can come back to that one day with a special Doctor Who, and then you can join us for that, Dan. I think that would be a good thing. But I think until Chibnall goes or they stop pandering, I'm done with Doctor Who. I don't think I'll be back for the special, and season 13 will be the first one I've missed since it came back.
I'm never stopping.
Okay.
I don't care if there's a Doctor with 8 tentacles and 3 breasts. You know what I mean? I'll watch that shit.
Same here, Dan. Same here.
Hey. Hopefully they listen to public opinion and they don't dig their heels in deeper, like in this continued battle of we're right, you're wrong. Okay, right, that's me. Sorry, I just needed to get it off my chest. It's been something for a while that I've had to talk about. Like Dan said, it's a really big subject to get into, so I'm sorry I've gone over my time quite a bit. Right. Who's up next? Troy.
Up next, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for going too long.
Nah, it's all right, bro. Hey, get off your chest. Even I'm with it as well. I'm a black guy myself, but that Doctor story was it's crazy. But anyways, let's get into my 2 picks. First off, got The 100. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we got The 100. So CW show. People were saying the CW again. No, CW.
Are you sponsored by the CW show? Because you seem to bring their shows up a lot on this podcast.
They've got some good shows. Only the good ones, though. Not the trash ones. The good ones.
Charmed.
Charmed is amazing. Love this Charmed. Okay, The 100. Okay, here we go. So it's the American post-apocalyptic sci-fi drama. So that's basically what it is. Started in 2014. The CW channel, as I said before. It's loosely based off like a book, so that's what it's based off, like a novel by Cass Morgan. She's a really good let's just say teen writer.
Young adult?
Yeah, young adult, yeah, writer. She's decent. 100 is a really good show, to be fair. The original main character of the show gets killed off early, so they made a big decision in doing that. so far early in the actual first episode, and I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? Doesn't he survive in the books? And I was like, because I only read a few of the a little bit of the book, not the whole thing, because of a few books. But so yeah, literally he dies, and then the female character, she literally leads the rest of the show for until like it's on its like 7th season now. What I'm up to date. This will be the last season what it's on right now, but I'll give you a quick synopsis of the actual plot, because so basically you've all seen it, you've all seen some of it.
Yeah, it got cancelled very early, didn't it?
100? No, it's not cancelled now.
Is it still running?
Still running, yeah. So 7th season.
Oh wow! You never hear about it. Sorry about that. I didn't know.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it.
Didn't E4 have it at one point?
Yeah. So literally, E4 has always been like doing reruns and stuff like that, showing like certain seasons of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So literally, it's that show you always heard of, but probably some people haven't actually watched it. You just go, yeah, the 100. Yeah, I've heard it. It just pops up in general conversation sometimes. But yeah, it's one of them shows. So basically, the plot is 97 years after devastating nuclear apocalypse. So basically, this Earth has literally been uninhabitable at this point. Well, what they think, because they're living in space, most of the humans are living in space most of the time, and they've got like a little mini society up there, and they basically shoot people off into space who is insubordinate, throw them into space, and basically they're doing a mission to try to see if the Earth is livable at this point, because it's how many years later that they haven't touched Earth, and they use these kids to test out the Earth's habitation to see if it's actually breathable down there. That's like the main plot of the show. So they throw them down there, and literally, lo and behold, Earth is breathable. And at this point, savages that run Earth at this point, savages that run the place, it's crazy, it's overrun. And basically, they create this kind of language, and it's really good how they've done it. They kind of mix this Creole, kind of like an African type of speech, to kind of communicate with each other on Earth. That's kind of like the main language on Earth now. So they basically these kids touch down on Earth and trying to gain land. They basically got to fight these two people, these factions, warring factions that's out to kill them, because they're saying where's this? The people come from the sky, these devils, and they basically just kind of, that's basically the main plot of like season 1 and kind of onwards. They're basically fighting these warring factions of certain parts of Earth. You got these rich society, you got the poor people over here, you got the savages over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a warring faction of just post-apocalyptic kind of show. Any questions?
Who's starring in it?
So basically, you got Morgan Morley. He's an Australian actor. So basically, to be fair, most of this cast is kind of Australian.
I thought you were about to say Morgan Freeman. I'm like, holy hell.
Sort of like same kind of people as did the Mighty Johnsons and all that.
Yes. There you go. That kind
of,
really? That's that kind of cast. You got Bob. Yeah, that's it. But there's his name, Bob Marley, who's in Neighbours, those other kind of shows. You've probably seen him around. To be fair, he's like a top Australian actor. He's like part Irish as well, I think. And there's another main actor as well. What's her name? What is her name? I think it's Eliza Taylor. Yeah, Eliza Taylor. She's another one as well. Neighbours. So literally, this is the Neighbours crew right here, rocking up on the CW. Yeah. There we go.
Better away.
Oh, jeez, here we go. Sorry. But yeah, go on. Oh, okay, there you go. So literally, so basically that happens, and Bellamy, who's Bob Morley, his sister, kind of runs into these savages, and she literally becomes a savage at this point. She joins them and kind of leads them to try and send everyone to try and help everyone on Earth to try and go into space, because Earth is literally being shut down by this massive nuclear bomb that's about to go off. So there's kind of like a call to arms. They kind of got a band together to leave this planet, because basically a massive bomb's going to go off. And down the line, they have this kind of chip that they have to put. They're putting to a leader of this warring faction, because they have all the consciousness of all the past leaders on Earth, like literally centuries of knowledge into that one chip. And at this point, this is kind of the main crux of the show, because it kind of gets futuristic down the line. It literally goes crazy down the line, because you got futuristic stuff happening there where they leave Earth and go to another planet, because Earth is literally uninhabitable again, because a nuclear bomb goes off, literally destroys like most of Earth again. So they're gonna go years, they basically go in stasis at this point. So it's how many years later again go to this other planet, and they got all these different moons, and literally there are these people who are overrun by people with past lives. All these people have ships in them who run this kind of colony, this new planet, and they got to fight them. So that's what literally I'm on right now, season 7. It's craziness. It's crazy.
How many main characters of the 100 are main characters?
I mean, I'll say around 4. It's 4 main characters, but there's a lot of sub characters as well. There's a lot of support clusters around it as well. Tons of them, because they kind of there's like a subgroup of these survivors that survived from the first 100. That's why it's called the 100, because the 100 people got sent down to Earth to kind of check out the Earth, innit? And only a few of them left. So season 7, there's only a few remaining survivors from that original group left, while they met some people along the way. Yeah, so okay. Really good. Trust me, really good show. For me, check out E4 as well. They've kind of done the reruns and stuff on E4, so you can check that out over here in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the 100. Really good show. And secondly, oh my god, this is the one I want to talk about the most. Okay,
it's a Charm reboot. I know this. You'll hear me disconnect my phone when it happens.
No. So we got American Horror Story 1984, baby.
You bastard.
There we go. 1984. Just finished the show. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen American Horror Story like the previous seasons. This is
I've seen the first two.
Seen the first two?
I'm complete noob to it.
Oh, that's what you say, Dan?
I'm a complete noob to it.
Oh, you're a noob. Okay, all right. Okay, so hopefully I can convince you with this one. So, now, to be honest, 1984 is a great starting point. To be fair,
it's a good year. That's my birth.
Me too.
I'm 89 myself. I'm at 89. I'm just at the tail end.
Just about in trying to act like you know what the 80s is all about. You're a 90s.
I'm that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm 80s. There we go. I'm 80s. I'm that guy. Just grasps on it. I'm like, yeah, I'm 80s.
I'm sorry. If we were born in 1984, we knew what the 80s was about just as it ended. So we're hardly in a place to actually comment.
But at least we just about remember 1988, 89. We have just about enough.
You know what I remember about 1989? I remember getting a bike for my birthday.
I remember NES. Actually, that's true. Most of the 90s is what I remember now. Actually, maybe I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah. 90s. 90s was the time where you found yourself. If you were 1984 born, you found yourself in the 90s.
All of the stuff I liked in the 90s came from the 80s as well, but definitely remember the 90s. Yeah, you're correct. Okay.
It's amazing. I love the 80s. And I just love the music. To be fair, to me, it's all about the music in the 80s. I love that kind of
fun stuff. Love it. For people that don't know, why don't you explain what American Horror Story is? Because
here we go. Okay, so American Story is literally like an anthology series, a horror anthology series. Because you got the basically 1984 right now is the slasher. Because originally it was like season 1 was Murder House, literally about a haunted house. Season 2? Season 2.
Asylum.
Oh, how can I forget about that?
Third one is Coven. Fourth one is something Hotel. 5 is the Circus. Yes. 6 is Aliens. 7. Number 8 was a crossover of all the characters from the previous seasons in just a complete crazy bullshit, batshit insane story. And season 9 is basically, isn't it in the woods?
This is basically a slasher. Yeah. 1984 is literally the ninth one. This is about a slasher. So you got all these famous serial killers happening around this time.
Yeah, they bring back the same actors each year, pretty much, but with different characters.
Yeah, so this one's got like the less kind of the original kind of cast. They've got a few new ones in this one, from like Apocalypse, which was the last one, which is like literally the end of the world kind of scenario. And they kind of like did a kind of rewind time kind of storyline in the last season.
Okay, so American Horror Story Avengers Endgame.
Because they kind of, in a way, they kind of tie into each other. So you got kind of a similar kind of thing. Yeah, so Apocalypse was kind of Avengers, basically, is what it was. I thought the last season was kind of like an Avengers team-up movie. Because you got the Coven cast, and then you got a few of the cast from the other seasons kind of team up in this one. Because you see Murder House, a few in there. A few cast from Circus, and a few others from other like seasons as well. So they kind of meet up in Apocalypse. So Apocalypse was technically the kind of like the big bad type of storyline. Because they basically fought the Devil's Son. That's what the Apocalypse was last season. So yeah, so basically this is kind of like a restart, 1984 in a way. kind of from like the rest of the seasons. Doesn't really match up with the rest of them. But so 1984, so literally these kids meet up. So we've got Emma Roberts is like kind of like the main character in this season. She plays Brooke Thompson in the show. And anyone knows Emma Roberts, she started in Scream Queens. I don't know if you guys seen Scream Queens. That was amazing. So good. Scream Queens, that's another good show. I'll have to bring it up another time. But we're in 1984, so we're going to talk about this. And so basically these kids kind of start off, basically they're in an aerobics class. So back then, the 80s, aerobics was massive.
Mr. Motivator.
Yes, Mr. Motivator. There we go.
Oh, the colours as well. The colours of the 80s.
Oh my god.
Early 90s as well, like burn your eyes, that type of shade of pink.
No, those colours, all them bright colours.
Come on, this was a time when Richard Simmons could claim to be straight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you watch Mr. Motivator's the print, you can watch. It's like watching a Magic Eye picture. HD will just blow your eyeballs out of commission.
Gee, weird. Trust me, 80s, the bright colours got them stretches. Oh my gosh. So
in the 90s, all right.
A bit of that, yeah, a bit nice. I can say that. So basically, Matthew Morrison, like literally from Glee, as basically Ben's last week, kind of ties into this one.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, so he's in this season as well for this one. He plays this kind of advert actor who has a massive schlong. Basically brags about for the entire season. It's like, yeah, man, I got the biggest one go. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my days, this guy's crazy. And he's got this mad mustache as well. He's got this mad kind of porn star mustache. It's crazy. It makes me laugh. He's funny in this season, to be fair. So everyone's literally trying to spy on this guy, saying that, oh my, it's crazy. But basically, the main crux of this season is like literally there's backstabbing going on because you've got this character called basically Montana Duke, played by Billie Lourd. She's like a great actress. She's Scream Queen. So literally, Scream Queens is kind of anyone's the Glee cast. So literally, some of these characters are from Glee as well. And because the Ryan Murphy kind of runs the show as this one as well. So
a lot of people would love to see the Glee cast get effed up by an axe. To be I love Glee, but I can see that,
especially to music.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Hit me one more time, bang, bang, bang.
Oh jeez! So literally, so basically Brooke Thompson, Emma Roberts' character, she literally got basically her backstory is that she was about to get married to this guy, but the guy didn't want to get married to her because she thought that she slept with his best friend. Kills the guy, kills Emma Roberts' dad, then kills himself. So this kind of ties in with Montana Duke, this other character that's in the show, played by Billie Lourd. And she's basically out to get revenge on Emma Roberts' character. So she invites Emma Roberts to this cabin. I should say to this camp, or Camp Redwood. So this is where the main plot of the story is basically playing out. Because this camp has a basically a backstory of just murders. Someone called Mr. Jingles. So he's like this killer. He's played by John Carroll Lynch. So anyone has seen Channel Zero, that's another anthology series as well. That's really good. Has anyone heard of Channel Zero?
No.
Oh man, that's another great horror show. If you watch horror shows, that's Channel Zero. That's another good one to watch. It's in the same vein as like kind of American Horror Story, like an anthology series. But he plays Mr. Jingles. He's in a mental asylum at this point because back in the day he's supposed to have killed all these kids at Camp Redwood. And his backstory, he was a kid, and basically he let his brother drown, and ever since then he's literally lost his mind. Apparently he went on a killing spree and killed those kids, as I said before. And basically these kids who was with Montana Duke, they basically went on a camping trip, went down there, and they basically got this leader who runs the place, and she's called Margaret Booth. So I think she's a character from back in the day as well. She's like an actual real person back in the day called Margaret Booth. You know, the Manson murders and all that stuff, Manson murders and all that. So literally, she basically runs this camp because apparently she was a victim of Mr. Jingles. And literally, Mr. Jingles cuts off people's ears and keeps them, you know what I'm saying? He keeps them as like a trophy. But little that people know, Margaret Booth was the actual real killer. Because she had revenge on all these kids because the kids were bullying her. and literally she just like went a killing spree herself and basically blamed this guy and called him Mr. Jingles, basically fitted him up for the actual murders. And basically you got all these murder killers showing up throughout this whole show, called the Night Stalker. So anyone who knows about basically murderers, famous murderers, the Night Stalker called Richard Ramirez. He was like a guy who was a Satanist, and he did all these murders. And basically he thought he was doing devil's work. And he literally in this show he's actually got powers. It's mad. So every time this guy died, you just literally resurrect. It's crazy. It's crazy. This show is amazing. And this has Kajagoogoo. All these bands show up as well.
Did you just say Goo Goo?
Kajagoogoo. That was an old 80s band called Kajagoogoo. Too shy. Okay. Anyone knows that song back in the day? They sung that. And all these the soundtrack is fire. That's all I'm going to say. The soundtrack makes this show. If it happens in this show, the soundtrack makes it. It's literally a great story. 1984 is literally solid. And I don't want to spoil it. Actually, don't want to spoil it.
Be careful now, because I haven't got to this season because Netflix have not.
That's why I say too much. That's why I say too much. Because this is literally a great starting point. If anyone wants to watch American Horror Story, 1984 is a great starting point. Because these other shows you can watch. Huh?
Yeah, because it's after the.
Yeah, because all this stuff. Well, if you don't want to really go back and say, because you literally got to watch that to tie into this. Sometimes you got little things to tie into that. But Asylum, you don't really need to watch the rest of them. To be fair, Asylum's kind of its own thing. But the other kind of, yeah,
got my friend to go watch American Horror Story, and he was like, "Okay, I watched the new one. It was the crossover one last year, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
So he was like, "This isn't easy to pick up." I was like, "You need to go back to the beginning then."
Literally, if you don't know, you don't get to you miss it. Oh, trust me.
I didn't realize you had to watch all the previous 8 seasons. All of a sudden, it decided, "Hey, we're going to bring back all the characters, man."
Yeah, because there's callbacks as well. They play different characters at the same time while doing the show. It's quite funny. Literally, you see a character swap out, and it will be another character that's like literally a character from like season before or a couple of seasons down. So they kind of switch in and out with Apocalypse. Yeah, it's crazy.
That sounds ridiculous.
no, but that once you watch the first, I know because I never really liked the first season, Murder House, but people loved it. But I never really liked it.
It's a bit. Okay, yeah. Dan, I'm called many things. I think a lot of American actors are hammy. Just going to say it there. Not in a bad way sometimes. Just their acting in drama sometimes is a bit where British people just tend to have this more down-to-earth thing that helps in drama. This is the problem with this first season, Murder House. It's just sometimes it's trying to be serious. And it's just campus fucking.
Yeah, Ben's kind of right. It kind of went. It would try to be too much. It was just. And I'm a person who likes weird.
Asylum did really well though. The second season they sorted that out.
Exactly. It was just the first season was just like too. It was too much stuff gone. It was just got too weird.
Season 2 and 3 are much better. Where it's actually
season 2 onwards fire.
Yeah, the serious stuff is more tweaked. That first season though, it was a bit dynasty in places. A little bit hot EastEnders, so to speak, in terms of the acting for big dramatic scenes. Anyway, we need to let Dan have a go now.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that is all. That's my 200, 984, done.
All right.
Well,
I found out about maybe doing this yesterday. So, first idea came to mind was I'm a big fan of anything to do with fantasy and science fiction.
Okay.
Yeah. I mostly that's where I gravitate to: books, movies, TV shows. I like that. And I thought I'd focus in on science fiction because I have 3 shows that I want to talk about all at the same time. I'm not going to go into any great detail on any of them in terms of cast or anything, but start off by talking about the newer full series of Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, nice one, I think.
Oh, I love this.
Has everyone seen it?
Yes.
Seen it, but
about the 2000s one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. So there's that, which is one way of doing science fiction, and it's a very almost Game of Thronesy kind of. It is political. There's a lot of drama. It's also dystopian. It's also that there is this war and there's reasons behind the war and there's all sorts of mystery and stuff going on all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got an absolutely stellar cast, none of whom, apart from one or two, you would have even really necessarily recognized from anything else before, unless you are someone who really follows that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a casual TV watcher and you are not able to go, oh, that minor character was in this and that and this and that, then you're not going to know most of the main actors and actresses in this before you start watching it.
Yeah.
And as an ensemble performance, for the most part, it's brilliant. Like, I can't think of very many weak performances in any of it. They're all really, really good at what they do, even the minor characters. That's the very Game of Thronesy way of doing science fiction. And one of the things that it sort of sets aside is real science in order to be able to tell it's fiction. So it's soft science fiction. Because you rely upon the fiction to do the science. And if you're into something which is soft science fiction, and if you're into being able to just go along with it, and if you're one of those people who would prefer to have something be like insanely cool, then there's a reason behind it in reality as to why this might have been there.
Yeah.
This is a really good place to go for your science fiction kick. I can't recommend it highly enough. I can't recommend any of these three highly enough for you. Okay. Moving forwards from that, we have a second way of doing sci-fi, which is the absolute classic that is Firefly. And Serenity following on.
There we go. Love it.
We need to sign you up for a permanent basis on this podcast, bro. Good taste. We can replace you with Troy. He just bangs on about Charm every week.
Charmed.
Hey, I don't know enough about Charm, so we can't actually replace him with me.
I think you'd be a good regular person to have on the podcast. Anyway, I'm interrupting. Sorry. Please continue.
But, yeah. Firefly takes an entirely different route. It becomes even more. It's space fantasy.
It's like a Western.
Yeah, but it's basically a space fantasy. It doesn't have like magic and stuff like that in it, but it has an awful lot of the trappings of a fantasy story in a sci-fi setting with a Western theme. Absolutely brilliant. I love the way it's all been sort of mashed together, and you get these really juxtaposed like levels of the engineer and the cowboy. And there's the smuggler, and there's a sheriff, and there's preachers who are also spies and super soldiers and all this sort of stuff. Absolutely love it. And again, we're talking about, you don't really have that much that the characters are very well known for before they're on this show.
Yeah.
That the actors and actresses are. Some of them have severe cult followings beforehand. And of the three I'm talking about, this probably has the most cult-followed actors and actresses even before you get to Firefly. And also Joss Whedon has his own level of absolute fanatical support.
Yeah, he likes to bring a lot of actors back into regular series again because they're great actors. Also, I love... It's like a dysfunctional family. You know what I mean? It's just... It's brilliantly written as well. It's just
almost
funny.
a sitcom.
What's the name of the guy? Oh, Adam. Last week I talked about Chuck, if you've seen that. There's an actor, Adam Baldwin, that is his name. He's fantastic. He's in this as well. It's just a bloody good show.
As man.
Jane, that's it.
Yeah.
I just love this show. Every cast member has a point to be here. There's no wasted characters. Oh.
Absolutely brilliant. But then I have to get to another one, and just give me 2 seconds here.
Okay.
Would you like some
this last one is probably the one that's most likely that people haven't seen, and it's the one that I would push the hardest to watch. And it's because this one is hard science fiction. The fiction is provided by the science.
Okay.
So this is stuff which is theoretically possible. And I was recommended this by a guy called Howard Taylor, who is a webcomic artist.
Yeah.
Who writes a webcomic called Schlock Mercenary. And I think it's the longest running daily single storyline webcomic that there is. This guy has been putting out a webcomic every single day for over a decade. And it's fantastic. And he recommended this as being something which is absolutely essential if you like your fiction informed by the science in science fiction. It's called The Expanse.
There we go.
Heard of it.
I'm clapping for you, Dan. I love it. Just finish that as well. I love it.
Now, I haven't seen the second series of The Expanse.
Okay,
I've seen the first one, and I've been rewatching the first one to prepare to watch the second one.
Trust me, Dan. Amazing. Oh my god.
Is this a Netflix show? This sounds similar.
It's Amazon Prime.
It's Amazon original. Yeah.
Ah, right, got it. I knew I've heard of it somewhere.
And the person who is the sort of most well-known actor who is in this would be Thomas Jane, who played the Punisher in like original Punisher movies.
Yeah, 2004, I think it was.
Yeah. And he plays this hard-boiled cop kind of thing in a situation where Earth is one civilization, Mars is another, and the outer planets of the solar system is another. And Earth is entitled, and we were first, and none of the rest of you would exist without us being here. So very obviously you should be paying tribute to us. Quite obviously we should be the power in this system because we are where you all came from. Mars are like, we've taken this rock and we're going to turn it into a garden. We're going to make it better than Earth ever was. And Earth has squandered their garden and paved it over. And they've lost all of their actual dreams and sold their soul.
Sounds like coronavirus right now, doesn't it? Everything's all effed.
It's a little bit, but it's more. There's war, there's unrest. You think more about the political situation,
yeah,
rather than the pandemic. You're getting a lot closer to where things are. There's a cold war between Earth and Mars, and the people in the outer planets are providing all of their major resources and mining for them, and they're in horrible conditions and they get exploited.
The belt.
It sounds like a Gundam series, like Earth and Mars, and that. If you've heard of that anime series, that always sounds like every Gundam series, quite similar to that. Like Earth versus another planet with different heroes.
It does take some of those tropes. It really does. But it does it in a very, very interesting way, and they make some incredible cast decisions. Which means that, again, a lot, as with Battlestar Galactica and even as with Firefly, you have this ensemble performance, which is so much better than you would have if you had, say, you could have had someone a bigger a name. You could have had a Josh Hartnett or someone in a main role somewhere. You could have had Drew Barrymore in a main role. You could have done that, and you would have sold it more to begin with.
Yeah.
But the actual way that they put forward this story, because you're not focused on star power, the performances everyone puts in make it so good. It's filled with absolutely stunning portrayals of immediately gettable, immediately likable arseholes. They are all badass. They are all insane in some way or another. Even the ones that end up, they're supposed to be a little bit evil or a little bit too cold or a little bit too tough. And even the ones that die early, they're all badass in some way.
I tell you what, the best people are assholes sometimes.
And I cannot recommend that one enough as well, because it subverts what you think is going on. Because you do start off thinking, the very first thing you see in the entire series kind of gives you a fairly major clue. But then that gets completely glossed over. And you think something else is going on entirely up until mid-season 1. up until like 8 episodes in, even you're going, this is all espionage and crazy political and Cold War stuff, and then something else happens, and everything changes, and it's just so good. I can't like. There are ways that you can do bad science fiction. Farscape, I'm looking at you. There are ways that, and there are ways that you can do really, really bad, politically charged environments. Game of Thrones, I'm looking at you. This does it all absolutely perfectly. If you have not seen this show, you need to see this show. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the subject. It's absolutely fantastic. It's hard science fiction, so everything, like the people who live on the outer planets, if they've been a generation or two out into the outer planets, their bones are brittle, they are taller, they're weaker, they have to take supplements which fuse their spines and create all sorts of mutations so that they look really weird and odd, and they have their own way of talking that includes hand gestures as well as everything else, and so much nuance and so much just everything's been thought about really, really well.
Yeah. The language, like Creole, like kind of like Creole, kind of Cajun. I love the language. The language is amazing.
Somewhere between that and like almost a Swahili.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Love
it. And the way that there is a difference in character between even an Earth person and a Mars person. So even without being told, once you've gotten used to it, you just go, okay, that's Earth, that's Mars. There's no real difference between them physically. But you're just like, that attitude's a Mars attitude, that attitude's an Earth attitude, that attitude's a Belter attitude.
Yeah. Differences are massive. That's why I love it. You can actually tell the differences.
Yeah. So, just watch that show. It's probably one of the best shows that has come out that's in the science fiction genre in, I'd say, the last 50 years.
Yeah, facts.
Okay. I might have to dig out and get a new Amazon Prime membership and try and watch that, actually. That sounds like it's right up my street.
Expanse is amazing. I watch out my family, but Expanse is amazing.
It's amazing, but be prepared to be confused, be prepared to be scared, be prepared for an absolute thrill ride. Because it's a tension thrill ride, but it is a thrill ride.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to watching that show. You have to pay attention.
I love shows where you get to pay attention to things and it comes back up later. I love that stuff. The audience gets payoff for the audience, man.
Yeah, so much of it. But that was me. That's all I had brought with me is just praise for 3 of my favorite shows and a specific plug saying one of them is way, way more worth watching than the other 2, in my opinion.
You've definitely balanced out my negativity on 2 of my picks. I think that we're back in Zen now. Let's see if Tom overturns it now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep it kind of brief this week, just because I think we've gone on quite a long time, especially talking about Doctor Who and lots of other things, but that's quite normal because you guys are all big sci-fi fans, so that's cool. Yeah. I've gone for 2 slightly different shows for me. Well, I suppose they're not different for me because they're kind of police dramas again, which is my thing. The first one is something that I've been avoiding watching for ages, and then I just picked it up a couple of days ago and finished the first season pretty much in one sitting. Is a show called The Tunnel. Don't know if either of you guys have come across this.
The Tunnel?
The Tunnel.
No.
Right, so basically it's actually based on another show from a Danish company where the basic premise is a murder happens in like the I'm trying to think what the word is, the utility tunnel of the Channel Tunnel. So halfway between France and England, like you've got a service tunnel for people to go along if they need to do stuff.
Yeah.
And a body is placed exactly on the line between France and England. Like, bang on the line. His legs are in England, legs up to the waist in England, torso head in France. So it forces the French and English police to both be involved.
Okay.
Oh, he had a good night out then, didn't he? He ended up in 2 different time zones.
Anyway, so basically the French and English show up and the French just go, well, this is a French. They recognise the woman as being a French politician. They say, she's French, she's been missing, we're taking this. And the British went, yeah, all right, we just need to get that confirmed by our guys. Then they go to move the body and realise that the body has been chopped in half exactly on the line. And it's actually 2 bodies. One is English, one is French, and it's half and half. One is an English prostitute, the other is a French politician. And it's basically, it stars a guy called Stephen Delane, who, if you watch Game of Thrones, plays Stannis Baratheon.
Oh, Stannis, okay.
So he's the lead British policeman. And then it's got Clémence Posey is the French captain. She's biggest thing she was in other than this was she played Fleur Delacour in the Harry Potter films.
Hold on, what was the name of the actress again?
The lady, Clémence Posey.
I thought you said "Come on, Pussy." So I'm glad that we are.
Posey,
Posey.
Posey. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh my gosh, the age range again. Oh my gosh, coming into play.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry, Ben. I checked the age.
Go on, Don.
F you.
Anyway,
Yeah.
she's a fantastic actor, and she played her biggest thing other than this was playing Fleur Delacour in the Harry Potter films. So if you've seen Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, she's the representative for Beauxbaton.
Ah.
Very good actress. She's been in lots of stuff. She's fantastic. And she basically doesn't like Stephen Delaney's character initially. And there's a lot of tension between playing on the French-British stereotypes. And basically they're going after this guy who calls himself the truth terrorist. And he does the most horrific things. And it's about them working together. And this guy is saying, I'm doing these things to draw attention to inequality of race, for one, and loads of other things. So it's quite topical for right now. But he also kidnaps a bus full of school children and has them on alarms that if people do certain things, he'll release the children. It's really, he uses the internet to his advantage. He's outdoing the police at every turn. And it's a very interesting story. You follow them trying to kind of stop this guy and get one step ahead of him, and he's too good. And then the story completely switches. Basically, you've also got the backstory of these 2 leading characters. Stephen Delane, he's been married twice before. He's got 3 children, 2 different mothers. His current girlfriend, he's obviously been with for quite a while, but he obviously sleeps around. And it's been an issue in their relationship before because she doesn't really trust him. And he ends up shagging one of the people they're investigating as well at some point during the show. So his dodgy life he's got a fully grown son who is very good. A point of reference for him is he played Zach in Fighting With My Family, the film about wrestling. So he played the brother.
Mm.
Good actor.
Very good young actor. And he plays his older son, who's obviously hates him because of the relationship that fell apart with his own mother. And it's about them building their relationship as well. And then you go through all of this, and then you discover about, almost near the end of the series, that actually everything that's happened has been a complete distraction. And this truth terrorist actually hates Stephen Delane on a personal level and has done all of these things to make sure that he's jumping through hoops just so he can wind him up. And it's very well done. I can never remember the name of the actor who plays the baddie, but he's absolutely, as soon as I saw him come on screen, I went, he's the terrorist. It was like the second he worked on screen, I was like, yeah, I know this is the baddie. There is no way it's not him. Mm. Oh, God, what's his name? Oh, trying to think of a film that he's been in. Have any of you seen the film The Count of Monte Cristo?
Uh-uh.
Oh, the original.
No, the one that was done early 2000s.
Oh, no.
Don't think I've.
It's pretty good. It's got Guy Ritchie and a couple of other people. It's worth a watch. Doesn't really stick to the original story as much as it should, but it's good. But yeah, I can't give you a point of reference from him then.
Sorry.
But it's got people like, well, it's not your fault. It's got people like Keely Hawes plays a part in the show. So it's got a few.
Is it Jim Caviezel?
Yeah.
This guy, man. Oh, the person of interest guy.
No, but he that's not the guy in the tunnel, but that's the right Count of Monte Cristo one.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh God, I need to find his name.
I'm getting it. James Crane.
What character does it say he played in Count of Monte Cristo? Or have you got the tunnel?
Oh, wait. Are you talking about the guy from True Blood?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
All right.
Yeah, as soon as he walks on screen, I love his
face.
acting. I was like, this guy's got to be the baddie. There's no way this guy can't be the baddie. It's too random to have this good an actor in such a minor role at this point in the show. And yeah, brilliant actor. He plays Psycho like very few people play Psycho.
Yes.
And yeah, so spoiler alert, he turns out to be the baddie in this series. I haven't watched season 2 or season 3 yet, but I would definitely recommend it. One of the things I like about this that I often don't is I'm one of these people who is often doing 3 things at once. So I'll have a TV show on that I am paying attention to, but I'm not fully watching it. But because this is half done in French, I couldn't actually be doing other things and not watching the screen because half of it was in subtitles and I don't speak French. So it forced me to actually engage with the whole show the whole time, which was good because it was very intricate, but so worth it. So worth it. I would recommend it hugely. It's an interesting premise. There are 3 seasons. It's finished completely now. But I'm going to get onto the second season soon. Really good. And that's all I can say, really.
If Shane Frane's in it, I'm watching it.
I'm watching everything, you guys, except for Troy's stuff, because Troy's stuff is normally garbage.
Well, that's totally understandable.
Wow. Greatness.
Sorry, Troy.
Charmed is your number 1 show, Troy.
Yeah, you have kind of put yourself in a really bad position by doing that, Troy.
You're just telling us what the new thing is on Twitter this week. That's how you're doing your picks. You're just
Twitter.
I just you're just guessing. You're just looking for Netflix, right? I'll read this one this week. I'll do this one this week.
Nah, straight classics. That's what I'll choose. Straight classics.
I want to know how you're picking your shows. All right.
What's them?
Finished?
Done?
Right. So yeah, second pick is once again I'm taking a risk on a show I haven't actually finished yet.
Okay.
I'm 2/3 through season 1, but the title of it caught my attention. I saw it a few weeks ago and I thought I must go back and watch that. And once again, it's another investigation drama. It's How to Get Away with Murder.
On my Netflix.
Okay, is it with what's her name's? Amanda Waller. We only played her.
From Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, she's a great actress.
She is a very good actress, and she plays a really nuanced character here.
Like that show.
Who you kind of want to hate her, and at the same time you have to respect her. And so basically, one of the things that caught my attention, number 1, the title caught my attention, but number 2, there was an actor on it, and I kind of sat there for about an hour and a half looking at this guy, going, "I know you from something," and it was really bugging me. And then I realised he played Dean Thomas in the Harry Potter films.
Yes.
So a minor enough character that hadn't really paid that much attention to him, but big enough that I'd noticed him. And I was kind of sitting there going, I know you from something. This is really killing me. But anyway, the basic premise is these kids are law students, first-year law students, and they have a class taken by a woman. I don't know what the official name of the class is, but she calls it How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah. It's basically her way of describing this class is if you do these things, this is how you get away with it. But she is also a criminal lawyer, And what she does is every year she takes a number of students, 4 or 5 students, to work for her in her law firm while she's doing cases. And that's basically stories of every week she's got a different type of case going on. And it's how these kids get involved and help her to find out. One of them basically goes and shags anyone who could give him information. It's different techniques for how to get information, stuff like that. The fact that she's basically manipulating these children because people don't pay as much attention to them because they're kids. They're not fully grown lawyers, so they can get away with sort of overhearing conversations, shit like that. But also running
Sounds
through
like House in a courtroom.
I suppose that is a reasonable description. Probably a little bit darker than House, I'd say. But one of the things I like about it, and Dan will know this from me, one of my favourite things in theatre, particularly, is the Greek thing where they kind of show you the ending at the beginning, so you know where this is going to end up.
Yeah.
But you don't know, so it's kind of counting down to that moment. And which is something that I really like. But then it flipped it slightly, because basically these 4 law students, you see them trying to get rid of a body, and it's like, and it shows you at the beginning of every episode, it shows you a little bit more of that story, but not in the order that it happened. And so you think, okay, this is going to be the last episode, is how they got to this point, and they're going to try and get away with murder. Fine. Yeah. And then actually in about episode 8 is the episode where all this shit happens.
Yeah.
So they put what you thought was going to be the ending of the series right in the middle, which is quite good, because it's how they got to that point, what happened, and then how they deal with it afterwards. And it's just getting... You're almost certain that someone's going to stab somebody in the back, because they're all having like serious PTSD reactions to the fact that they've accidentally killed somebody who deserved it, in fairness, but that's not the point. So they've got rid of the body, they've burnt the body, they've done all this kind of stuff, and now it's all starting to unravel, which is where I am at the moment. It's got 6 seasons, so I know that it officially finished this year. Was its last series. They didn't have any more, but it's, from what I can see, it's got legs. As a basic, every single week, kind of who done it, how do we get the person off? Like I say, the main character is, she never asks her client if they're guilty. Even though she knows they are half the time, she'll defend them. And it's very different to the English legal system. You couldn't do a show like this in England, because officially, if you even suspect it, you kind of have to back away in England, I think. Whereas in America, as long as you're not told, you can think a person's guilty. As long as they don't explicitly tell you it, you can claim you never knew. But even when she is told by the person, she's still, I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear that. It's kind of the reaction. And she gets people off. She goes in hard. And it's a really interesting character. It's really interesting played. It's got a lot of good young actors who I hadn't seen in anything before this, apart from the guy who played Dean Thomas. And it's a good ensemble. You've got a main character, but it's about the group. It's not about one actor. And it's well done from what I can see. And I'm enjoying what I've seen so far.
Very well done, show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd recommend it. Once again, I'd definitely
check it out.
Especially if you're into that kind of investigative thing, and you like that kind of working out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. Then
I just think it's new and interesting, because you're literally saying she's actually defending murderers.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit more like Sleepers.
Well, in one episode, she defends a person for committing murder by getting him to admit that he committed a murder that he got off on 15 years earlier, to prove that he wouldn't have been so sloppy for the second murder. This is the kind of character we're talking about.
Yeah.
Utterly ruthless, utterly brilliant. I'd recommend it. There are a couple of episodes that are a bit slow, but as a general rule, It bounces along nicely. You need to be watching because there are a lot of intricacies to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people shagging a lot of other people, a lot of crossover, and yeah.
I'm gonna have to start calling you Gravedigger, I think, because
Why's
you know
that?
you always bring up crime. I'm gonna have to call you
Yeah.
Gravedigger.
On week 1, you asked me what kind of things I'm into, and I said crime.
The
I
Undertaker.
don't think I've ever hidden this fact from anybody.
The Undertaker,
Murder.
Gravedigger,
The Undertaker. There we go.
Tom Gravedigger. Hill.
Yeah.
Sound like a wrestler now, mate.
Tom Gravedigger.
You know what? If you're going to compare me to the
Sounds like
Undertaker,
a
I'm
monster
cool with
truck.
that.
Yeah, call him the Undertaker. Undertaker.
You want to compare me to the Undertaker? I will
I'll give you
not.
that. I'll give you Taker. I'll give you that.
You did bring up the Last Ride documentary series.
I did. And it's totally worth it.
Me, just that kind of makes sense.
I actually
See,
watched the last
well,
episode of that this morning.
That's so. I think that just about wraps it up then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for having us.
No problem, Dan, and hopefully
Pleasure.
we'll be back on soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
We have to do
I'm
that
already
Doctor
thinking
Who.
about what I can talk about.
We could do a really big special on the Doctor Who chat about season 12 and where it's going one day, maybe.
Yeah,
be really
definitely include me in the Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, it's good. I think, yeah, definitely.
And also, whenever I've watched season 2 of The Expanse, I'll come back with my fully formed thoughts.
Yeah. I
about
want
that
to
show.
hear it.
More fleshed
That's
out.
the one rule. You can always bring back up an old show if you want to. Don't worry about it. We can go deeper into it. A new perspective on it. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
That'd be great. Okay, so I'm Ben. I'm saying goodbye.
I'm Tom.
I'm Troy.
And I've been Dan.
Yeah, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.